been seven plus weeks of currently lockdown, and we're learning new things about ourselves, about the way how we are functioning, about how we're connecting as humans with one another, and how much of a connection with the actual world, with the earth, we need to actually sustain ourselves. Like everybody's saying, go out and hug a tree, so like you can feel that embrace again, like you would from another human, right? Like you're connecting with nature in this way, in ways that we haven't done before. And I think that to see it unfold in this way is so beautiful. Scary, because we've taken a huge leap. Like we were pushed into this. We were pushed into this whole new world that we're experiencing. And we really have to work really hard to like figure it all out. So when we come out of this, which I know we will, I believe we will, but we won't be the same humans that we were before.
And we can't be, and part of that also is because it has become so clear to me through these connections, this ET disclosure, like disclosure is imminent. That's part of the reason why it's never going back. That's part of the reason why 5G is such a thing. It's part of the reason why we are in lockdown. I believe so strongly, because of the communications I've been receiving, is because it is going to become so ridiculously clear to the whole world that there are other beings from other planetary systems here. And not only are there benevolent ones, but there's also ones that are not so benevolent. And that's been controlling this planet for millennia. So now, like, all of these things that have been preventing us from accomplishing our ascension timeline as starseeds on this planet, and just as a planetary matrix, all of the things that have been preventing us from doing that are like coming out of the way. Like these beings are like, hey, we're here, and you know we're here, and now you're gonna see us. And so they're showing up in the backs of our awareness. And this is why, Gayatri, I think you've been up at night. Like, you as being a sensitive dream person, like our dreams are being like, they're communicating to us in dreams, like, hey, I'm here, I'm with you, you're safe, you're okay, we're doing this, it's here, it's happening. And now when we're up in that nighttime, when everybody else is having dreams, we're having these experiences in our physical body where it's like, hey, I'm being touched by something bigger than me. I'm tapping into this in a waking state instead of a dreaming state. And now my dreaming state, my waking state are merging, because that's the place where we actually communicate with those beings. It's a telepathic connection. All of our senses are opening, and we're becoming more sensitized to a full body, holistic communication stream. So all of this technology is teaching our bodies to, like, we have to be separate from physical contact so that we can learn to use these skills in a new way. And so all our entire nervous systems are receiving upgrades and downloads, and like, I feel like people are getting sick because their like belief structures, like some people are just too rigid to be able to receive the upgrades, and so they're like snapping in certain ways. But those of us who are here and who have been preparing for this, we've been waiting for this. So it's kind of like, oh, this is like exciting and scary, but also it's so familiar. So I'm kind of okay with opening in this new way. It's really uncomfortable, and I have all my feelings, and I'm going to flip out, and I feel sick and all this, but I'm not going to die from this because I've been waiting for this my whole life, you know?
Really always wanted to do a podcast because I love just natural conversation where it doesn't necessarily like an interviewer asking questions, you know, like that. It just put a lot of pressure on like the questions that were being asked. Instead, it's like, what's just coming up in conversation, you know, like what's just needing to be said, what's needing to be aired. And I've always felt like that just wasn't possible as a podcast, but that was what I always wanted to do as a podcast, really. And that's why I wanted to call it like word of mouth, just simply word of mouth. Whatever is coming out of our mouths is like coming through, however.
During our storytellers, I felt intrigued. I felt intrigued to start creating and really kind of testing my boundaries with different forms of art, you know, really tapping into a whole different side of myself. And then when the term deadline was put on it, I felt like, wow, okay, now the pressure's on, and I have no like space to really create right now. Like when the pressure's put, it's like when somebody tells you not to eat ice cream because you're on a diet, like, right? It's like, now it's like, God damn, I want that ice cream so bad now, right? The pressure comes on you. But I think that, you know, if we kind of just continue to share something that we are passionate about and something that really is like changing our entire being and how we're really looking at this world also, then more people are going to be interested in what are you doing, right? Their curiosity will spark. So
like every time I get on these calls with you guys, like every time I've been on a call, all of a sudden some crazy story comes through. Somebody mentions something and I'm like, oh my God, I have stories for like the rest of my life. Hey. Like I'm like every day I'm like, my dreams are stories, all of my adventures are stories. Like I have stories within stories. I have like fantasy stories. There's so many things going on inside my brain that just to be able to speak them out and have people witness them and interact with them is so potent for me. And I feel like I get so like I get so like, I don't know, I love telling stories, and it feels like one of these, like it's like a wisdom carrying tradition that I carry in my being, and I can't help it, but I want to like have a way to share these stories, you know?
We're natural storytellers, but we haven't been able to tap into that because we're so busy with work and family and living up to society standards and, you know, and doing all these other things, that we forget to tap into the storytelling part of us.
And I feel like that's what we need right now, is like a way to help people feel lightness, to feel, you know, this like, it's okay to detach from everything that's holding you down. It's okay to let go and just surrender to the flow. It's okay to be who you are. It's okay to say yes to those things you really want to say yes to, but you don't feel like you can, you know, just like, it's okay to be a hot fucking crazy mess if that's what you need to be right now, whatever, you know. And like, just by being who we are, like, I don't know, I feel like my life is my ministry right now, so I'm just trying to show up to things that feel good.
But, you know, really giving space to also digest, you know, like we had our weekly check-ins for storytellers, and it really made giving that time in between to then kind of really tap into what you downloaded and what you heard and how you felt. I think that was the important part of it. So, you know, kind of going in with that mindset, I think would be helpful.
What if we just hang out once a week, the four of us do this, we record it, whoever wants to help with video or any of that, we can create like a little podcast. Then we can post that on there, and we can, you know, ask people, you know, to comment on it and share stories and continue sharing their art to inspire the conversations that we'll have.
Like, I'm just in this zone right now where I'm like, yo, I have so much to offer. Like, when I get on a call with you guys, like in this context, I'm just like, I just start flowing, and I'm like, I just need a place to put this stuff. So like, can we create a container to put this stuff? Because like, I gotta, it's just, I'm like turning into
a container big enough for this.
Can we make a big enough container for this?
It's our own cloud.
Yeah, but also like I really enjoy the like connection and the collaboration. Like I feel like I just get sparked by each of you, and like even the other people that have come in. Like I love the idea of having guests on the podcast and be like, okay, here's our thing. I love this idea of podcast, like changes this whole thing and makes it something that's like, whoa, this is a tangible thing that doesn't require other people to show up. It's just us. We show up, we talk, we have a good time, we share stories, we get excited, we make plans, we channel, whatever happens, but it's just like, hey, we're just gonna beam love. Like we could create sacred space.
Yeah, I really just think that culture got so into like everything being so polished, you know, every photograph polished, every image so polished, every marketing thing so streamlined that everything looks so perfect. And I think that now for me is a really fun time to be raw. Like editing is important, I think we all agree, but I don't know, just raw and real and honest And I kind of just am simple. Like everybody's simplifying everything, you know, it doesn't have to be big and huge and crazy, you know, and complex. It just needs to be creative. It just needs to be something. If there's a bond growing here, it might even encourage other people to do, you know, maybe they're not tuning into our network, but maybe it's just about 4 friends that are needing, you know, to get together because they have resources to share. Who knows, you know, but if this is benefiting us and we just kind of focus on, not making it, you know, too stressful, but there definitely does, like, this is the challenging work, is having boundaries, you know, goals, but then having it be a little more fluid, honoring cycles and timing and, you know, it was like a poem, I guess, in a way. And it's funny because I think that looking back, I've been doing that my whole life, but I've never shared that stuff with anyone. And I've never considered myself an artist, because artists share their work. Writers get their work published. Painters display their work, you know, like poets write poetry and share it. So it was something really interesting. I'm like, wow, I created some art when I was in a psychiatric ward, and I really feel sometimes like I would love to share something like that, but where do you do it? And so this Lightweavers, I love the art share. And so I really like, maybe Eliza, that idea that maybe we still keep asking and inviting others to share their art, which gives us material. And whether we, you know, do you want us to read the poem? Do you want to be a guest on our podcast and share, you know? So I like that a lot.
We're all just
Goodness, ladies.
Oh, jeez. Okay. I'm going to bed.